defense stocks. And this is a very exciting video because I've done a lot of research regarding the current happenings and what should be in your portfolio going into 2026. So the very first thing to notice about this is as the 2026 defense budget for the United States, the president laid out $1.02 trillion budget and how it affects us and what are the stocks you should be looking for. I will dive into it in a little bit, but we will go into a very definitive historical analysis regarding what how US has been developing their defense strategy. So let's dive in. So the very first thing what you are seeing over here is a spreadsheet. So I have marked it as year, whatever the NASA budget was, whatever the defense budget was, and what is the year on year change, right? So I would say like do not look into NASA and year on year change. I just wanted to say that in case like how does defense and NASA funding kind of look over? So there is a high correlation, 0.93 whenever a defense what that means is that whenever a defense spending is increasing, NASA spending is also increasing. And I want to see, like, as in total, what is the space and defense sector kind of looks like because there are many hot stocks out right now. And looking into this space further give me more confidence. The major thing that you should be looking right now is the difference between the 2025 and 2026 defense year-on-year change. This is huge, and why this is a big deal? Because it is a 15%. Right now, the government has just decided the money will start flowing in into different contracts and whatnot. Again, like this is my hypothesis, and I will support my case with it. So keep watching. Initial analysis from 1964 to 65, 66. So you see that the year-on-year change was minus 2.1, and then it increased to 2.1, and then like 21%, 18%, huge. Whatever is marked in yellow over here, that means that year-on-year change for them have been very, very huge. Whatever is marked in brown over here, that means we have decreased our budget, right? And similarly, like I have marked again in yellow, whatever budget has increased, and then whichever is less than 10%, I'm like just glancing over them. So I have four companies in here. The candles that you can see is of Northrop Grumman, and then the blue one is Boeing. Then the yellow one is RTX Corporation, which is Raytheon Technologies, and then L3 Harris is in green. So from 1968, we saw that we had increased our spending, so that's why the stocks went up. These are the space stocks, and then because there was high inflation and Vietnam, so like Vietnam War, so the spending they were trying to pause on that, so that's why the spending kind of dropped, and you can see that how adversely these were affected because the spending actually went down. And then similarly, when they started spending up again, whatever is in blue is basically they started spending up year on year, like more change, but it was not more than 10 to 15%. It was like 5%, 6%. So that's why you see a blue line over here. But still, like stocks rally a lot because there was like before they did not experience that much. So that's why like FOMO rally and whatnot. And then you can see from 77 to 85. So this was, I think, if you look into this, from 77 to 85, like every year it was like 20%, 12%, 21%, 16%. Like every time it was more than 10%. And that's what everyone got excited. And you can see like few different cycles as well. Like people were buying it, and then their FOMO hits and whatnot. And then the selling happened. But eventually, like if you're a long-term holder, just look at that. That's where the major run happened, and that's why I've marked over here, which is 20% funding year on year change. That's why when they ran, like you can see like 1500%, 1300%, and whatnot. Um, so okay, so and then what again happened? So after the green till the red, you can see that these stops dropped again, which means the defense spending again got cut. So that's what you see that the moment defense spending got cut, these all stocks kind of have very adverse effect because these companies mostly rely, leaving Boeing, I would say like leaving Boeing out, all of the other companies relies on government money because Boeing is selling the planes internationally across different customers. Like all of them are, but the major like Northrop Grumman or like whatever NASA is doing and whatnot, like that government is responsible for that. So funding needs to flow through government. So that's what you see. And then again, like over here from 1990 to 1995, there were like very definitive cuts. Like the spending was being reduced, but but still, you see these stocks went up. So we have to understand the perspective, like why still these stocks went up, but still it's not huge. If I roll this window over here, and if you see it, it's still not huge. It's still increased, but why it increased, like I mentioned over here, which is a funding cut. But America's economy was kind of booming, and we had record plane sales, and this was one of the very big missions of NASA, which was the Hubble telescope, which through which we are seeing the world, right? Like different images, scientists can think this is where they made the difference. Even with the spending cut, they were able to send the Hubble telescope up there. So that's what you see. And then again, after that, there was some funding, but was not clear to me. Like it was still on the decent page, so that's why you see up and down. But again, we are in the green zone. In the green zone, they increased a lot of funding. So why the funding was being increased? Like huge increase in defense. There was an Afghanistan war even also going on. So like the government year on year, like they were spending crazy. Like 2001 to 2007, all of these stocks they were rising like 300%, 150%, and whatnot. So, and then there is a recession period, which was around 2008. Every time, like the spending didn't stop, it was increasing, and it was increasing in, uh, I have marked in green, but it was not increasing at 10-20%, but it was still increasing. So you see that the stocks took a fall because the entire stock market was down due to 2008 recession. And then they kept on increasing, keep on increasing, because these all things are happen. And then why these gaps I have mentioned. So commercial sales happened over here, too many international wars which were happening, and defense cuts. So over here, like I should have marked actually this in red. So, so this part I wanted to tell you guys that the defense spending was being cut down, but still, like the stocks went up, and you will ask me why. So the easiest answer is that whenever there is a commercial sales, like US again is a top plane manufacturer like Boeing manufacturers, and then there were too many wars being played, so like missiles and whatnot. You need all kind of tech, right, for that. So you see that a hunger growth over there, and then again with the increasing spending again, you see that over here it was parabolic, but still it kind of not as a straight curve. Over here it went all the way parabolic because the spending started increasing again, and there were like multiple wars which were going on. And similarly, like they kept on increasing it, but it was not, imagine like these all periods which are marked in green, around like around which is later 2000s, like none of them had actually had, if you see around only this time we had major funding. But till the time over here we were just like increasing, decreasing, but not too much different than was expected. So you see this kind of a move over here. And then like from 2023, so there's a lot of things which have changed. There is a Ukraine thing going on, Taiwan tension is also there, and then there is always a tussle between Russia, China, and NATO arms race. Like who is gonna, like what is the future? Like where are we seeing it? So that's why we see a major increase in our defense, and because that has something which has played out. Now, the question which comes to everyone's mind is which stock we should buy, right? Like we want to go crazy and just buy a bunch of stocks which will make us money, a millionaire. So let's talk about that. We see that this is the amount of money that are going to flow into contracts. I have removed all of those personal expenses, which is basically naval expenses of personals, military personals, or like who all are defense heroes. So that expense is being I've taken it out. But basically, this is what the government has laid out a plan. Like how much billions of dollars it's going to go, and this R&D is basically very different. like 108, that's huge. Procurement is huge. And like environmental and all of that. Okay. So the top three companies, they are like the huge players. I would say the top three. I think the top six companies. These are all like huge players. I won't talk about them. Basically, whatever you buy in them, like 10% per year, I think definitely is in. Like if you are looking for low risk and good reward kind of medium, I would say like 20 to 30%, I think they are going to give next year. But if you talk about the underdogs, so I've marked in green, which are the underdogs, and should be bought the moment they go up or down. But now people would be thinking that already these stock prices like skyrocketed the moment the news was laid out. Like all of these stocks ran like 20%, 25%, which is crazy. But now you'd be thinking that, hey, I should wait a little bit for a January downfall or something. But this is also I created for you, like how much is if I take ITA, which is Aerospace and Defense ETF, how basically it has performed year on year, right? So what you see is like from I took the entire stock market US history and just laid it down and paid a plot, which is like from January to December, which are the most volatile months. But January, as you see, like it won't go down. I feel it's gonna go up similarly as Feb. Mostly like March, June is the time that they go down, but the other times they are mostly just increasing. So that's what I feel, but definitely I might be wrong and whatnot. So okay, so these I'm gonna now talk about more in terms of like how is the institutional backing, right? IONQ is one of my favorite stocks in quantum. You can see that how it is how different institutions have picked it up, and right now it's like so many shares are picked up by different institutions. So whenever something is very high, and imagine that the stock price has went so low and still like institutions are buying it, like they are not fools. They if they are buying it, something is up. Like and other thing that you want to see is that if you look at over here, okay, what are the filings, right? You want to make sure that there are Jane Street should not be there, or Citadel, or Sequentius. What is it? What is the name? Blah. So those market makers should not be there because mostly whenever they are buying or doing some kind of shit, that's mostly put and calls. They are hedging against like buying and selling in, so they have massive. So as you can see, I think Jane Street is there, right? Like, see, so they are like so many contracts. They are selling even call or puts. They are playing in both directions and getting money for the volatility because they're gonna price you expensive options. So and if people have bought options, Jane Street is the one making the money. You are not. Sorry about that, but that's the truth. You need to be very, very, um, what do you say? Very, very, uh, I would say like you should be very, very careful in trading options. Any volatility and Jane Street will take money from you. So, but recently, if you see, I think this is a great buy, INQ. Recently, I think next year or something, the government is going to announce some kind of funding. The news came out um, by one of the reporters, right, that government is going to stake some of the money. They did not because I think that report came out. So keep an eye on IonQ because it has potential to go up the most in terms of quantum space. Rocket Lab. So if you look at this stock, this is also a great stock. So how you see that it is not being manipulated and is one of the best stocks is basically look at like the institutional ownership. Like it has always been somewhat the same, and then people kind of sold and then again bought it. Why is that happening? Because it is such a good share that people have just got it and they don't want to sell, right? So that's what is there, like the huge institution backup, and now also they would be buying, right? And it's the same thing again. You don't want to see Jane Street and all of those folks. So okay, so Hudson Bay Capital is there, so they also do market They also do some market manipulation. I won't say market manipulation, but they are the market makers. So you see that they don't have Jane Street or something like that. So because Jane Street and all of those folks come in to kind of hedge it. If a stock is unidirectional, like this stock, this has been going up and up. So Jane Street is going to lose a lot of money if the stock just goes into one direction and they won't can't do anything about it. So that's why Rocket Labs looks very good to me. No manipulation, and you are set up for success. The third stock that that is somewhat okayish because when I look into it, the institutions have increased their stake a lot, right? Like just look at that, like how many shares have been bought. So I'm bullish on this stock as well. But let me check if Jane Street and all of those should not be present. Okay, so yeah, Jane Street is not there. Yeah, so like any market makers, if they do not uh, if they don't have a recent position, you're good. So that's what I'm looking for mostly. So this is a good one. KTOS is also a very good one because see like how many shares the institutions have, and then it it is just increasing. So definitely this is also one of the so these four stocks, I think one of the best stocks. I think this one is also five stocks. These five stocks are amazing, I would say. So because they have institutional backup, no one is selling, they'll just keep on buying. So that's what you see. Again, the same thing you want to see is if you want to take options, right? Like the another just the thing that you want to see is that Ditto should not have higher IV and Jane Street and all of those people should not be there. Um, so so these Planet Naps is also good. Now comes the risky stocks. So this is what manipulation looks like, right? Like see the total number of shares, and then they had so much less, and then it increased by a lot, and then decreased by a lot, and then like what the hell? It increased crazy. Like uh, either this stock is going to explode or something else is going on. Let's see. Okay, so oh, the very first thing I see Jane Street over here. See, like they have such big. Calls and well, okay, so this is put. I think this does not tell enough, but again, like do like take your own diligence over here. This stock is also a good stock in case you want to buy, like institutions are holding up, and similarly with ONDS, I'm just skeptical, right? Like how much less they were before, and then now how come they just got a confidence and like everyone's just buying the same stock. So sometimes it just does not make sense to me. Jane Street, see, Hudson Bay Capital, JP Morgan. Okay, so they're just they have bought, JP Morgan has bought a lot of these. Okay, that's nice. Look at the percentage change, like they are betting on it crazy, like oh my god. Okay, so like all the others. So this is also, like some kind of stocks. But again, be careful by looking at this number because I'm gonna tell you like two stocks which are risky, and then I think ASST everyone knows who bought it, Mike Alfred, professional gambler. So you see that how this has no institutional backup and now everything has it, and who has bought it? It's like Jane Street. Yes, sir. So many and yes, Secona Securities, they also bought, they are just playing around with that stock, Hudson Bay Capital, like all of the market makers. See, all of the market makers are here. They were just here to make money. Um, and similarly, you see Lays as well, like how it went up and then now they are selling. So people who are caught are caught. But still, this is a good stock. I won't say it's a bad stock. So, but it's risky. So these are all different stocks. Over here, but these five stocks are the best. So this is my analysis, and here I come to conclusion. Again, I would like to say that uh, we are spending a lot. 15% is too much. Um, and yeah, so that's it. Let me know what you guys think about this, and uh, comment below. Thank you so much for watching this video all together. I hope and have a great day. Thank you.